This is a piece of scrap wood, but it's a special piece of scrap wood. It's an offcut from the house my brother just built, and I scavenged it on my first visit there while they were framing. I'm Anna. Welcome to Home Culture, where I occasionally dumpster dive at building sites, and I want to turn this piece of scrap wood into something sentimental and useful. But first, it needs a lot of sanding. This turned out pretty smooth, especially since it's just a piece of lumber. But there is a lot of future sanding in this project, so it will turn out silky smooth. Now, on the top, I want to create a chevron pattern, and I was going to do that using these jumbo craft sticks, but I didn't have enough, so I went to the Dollar Tree and to Dollarama, and they're both out. But I did find these. Now, look at the size difference. This is definitely way more of a jumbo craft stick than this one. So I will be using these really truly jumbo craft sticks to make my chevron pattern. A chevron pattern is when both ends of the wood are cut at 45 degrees. And I have this handy tool to help me. I can line up the craft stick on this end, squeeze the power of Hulk, and ta-da! 45-degree angle. I want 2 columns of chevrons, so I need to divide up my board into 4 equal sections. Then I need to measure and cut all my angled craft sticks. Cutting the smaller jumbo craft sticks with the Mitre Snips takes some good grip strength. And the big ones are next level. I can't squeeze these with my strength. I have to push against the table. I figured out a way to make using the Mitre Snips easier for me. Instead of squeezing super hard, I just tap the snip with a hammer. I could alternate the smaller sticks with the big ones, and that would look so good. Oh, look how awesome that would be. And I can cut these easier. Oh, I love this. Well, this one's a little long, but there. Look how good that looks. Okay, that's my new design. I'm going to do smaller and larger and smaller, and then just have that chevron with different sizes. Oh, that's gonna look so good. For now, to cut a whole bunch of these little sticks. I'm ready to start making the chevron pattern, and I will be attaching all of the little craft sticks with wood glue, but the very first one, I just feel like I need to secure it a little extra, so I'll be using the brad nailer. And plus, it's just another excuse to use a brad nailer. To make everything nice and lined up and square and whatever else it's supposed to be, I am using a metal square, and I'm just gonna line it up right with the middle and attach my first piece. Chevron. And I also have pieces that are a little bit too long, so I need to trim these down before I can finish the sides. And then I have to finish the itty bitty little parts. But first, trimming down this right here. middle's almost done. I've trimmed down and sanded the edges, and now I just have to add the side pieces to make like a nice zigzag chevron. But I'm really loving how the two species of my fancy craft stick wood that I'm using is making the pattern really pop. I mean, I didn't even have to do like extra like staining or anything to make the pattern look so good. Ugh. Okay, more gluing. I know I'm wearing a mic, but it doesn't work if it isn't turned on. Pro tip there for you. So this is VoiceOver Anna, here to say that the full pieces of the chevron pattern are in place, and I'm just finishing it up by adding the little edge pieces. It's kind of like doing a puzzle, and I like puzzles. The pattern's all done. I mean, it's not really done. There's still like wonky bits that need to be trimmed off, but I don't want to do any trimming until the glue is completely set. So I'm gonna leave this to dry overnight, and then depending on how brave I feel tomorrow, either I'm gonna trim this or I might get Ralph to do it. But for now, this just needs to rest. I talked this over with Ralph, and he said the best way to trim this down would be with a handsaw. So, I don't know, I guess I'll give it a try. I have to say, I don't like the handsaw much. That aside, I broke off a corner to my chevron, so I'm just gonna glue it back. And instead of the handsaw, I've now upgraded to the Dremel for the rest of the trimming, which I have to say I like a whole lot more. The edges are a bit rough, and this still just looks like a piece of lumber. I want to smooth everything down and round off the corners. You might notice another piece of the chevron missing. Somehow I caught it in the gap where the sandpaper attaches to the sander. I finished patching all the bits that I broke off, and I've sanded everything with 80 grit, and it's already really smooth, surprisingly. But there are some brad nail holes and gaps that I want to fill in. Normally I use wood filler, but I really don't like how it stains, so I want to try something that I've seen many times on YouTube, but I've actually never tried myself. This mug here is not full of coffee. I emptied the sawdust bag from my sanding earlier into here, so it has sawdust in it. And I'm gonna mix that with wood glue and make like a little putty, and that's what I'm gonna use as my filler. I don't have a ratio for glue to sawdust. I just mixed it until it reminded me of wood putty. This is what it looks like. It's a bit blotchy and definitely messy. Maybe if someone else was doing it, it wouldn't be as messy, but mine turned out messy. It's much stickier than, of course, because it's glue, it's much stickier than regular wood filler, but it's not hard to work with, and I'm just surprised it actually does make a putty when you mix the sawdust with the glue. But I'm hoping that if I leave this to dry and I sand it, that it won't stay blotchy like this. Before I can even think of staining, I have one last task, and that is to attach these little feet. It's actually some knobs that I picked up at Home Depot, and they're just little wooden knobs, but I think they'd make really cute feet. So I'm just gonna glue them on. And now I'm just going to leave this to dry overnight. Good morning, the feet are nice and dry, and before I flip it over to show you what it looks like, I want to give you a reminder of what it looked like before I started sanding. Okay, ready to see what it looks like? Turned out really good, eh? And I sanded, like this took a lot of sanding. Way more sanding than if I just used wood filler. Like this, it was a lot of sanding, but the surface is so smooth. And I rounded out the corners. So it's just like a really nice thin veneer now. And it's so smooth. I mean, it doesn't really resemble craft sticks at this point. But now I want to sand it. And I want to sand it like a grayish brown color. And I have gray and I have brown stains. So I'm going to mix them and then maybe thin them out a little. Because I still want to, I really want this, like this pattern, this grain to show through. So I might thin out my stain with some mineral spirits. So, yeah. I'm not doing that up here because that is messy. So we're gonna go downstairs and mix up some stain and see how this turns out. Oh, I'm so happy with it. Before I mix the stain, I'm going to let some wood conditioner soak in. I'm mixing a tiny little bit of chocolate stain with classic gray and then thinning it out with some mineral spirits. Just a splash of mineral spirit. And this is how the stain turned out. It's more brown than gray and it's definitely rustic. Now the last thing I need to do is just add some wax to seal it. Whether this is used as a riser for decor, a plant stand, or a trivet, it's no longer just a piece of scrap wood. This was a really fun project. I got to use my new Mitre Snips, create a new stain color, and even make my own wood filler. What you think? Leave me a comment, share this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love that. I'll see you soon with another project. Bye! Then I need to measure and cut all my angled craft sticks. Once more, getting close. And then I need to measure and cut all my angled craft sticks. They're not scrap sticks. What am I talking about? I need to measure and cut all my angled craft sticks. No. Okay, I don't know, I'm done. If I keep blah.